Hey y'all, welcome to the Throttle podcast. I'm your host, Will Earnest, here today with my co-host, Evan Sager.
Hello, y'all.
Got I wouldn't call it a special preview because it's a Tuesday, Tuesday. But we got a preview of the NHRA Finals from Pomona, California. But before we get to that, some other exciting news that conveniently coordinates with NHRA. NHRA is coming back to Rockingham Dragway next year for their 75th anniversary season. It'll be in late September, replacing Fall Charlotte as the second race in the countdown to the championship, even though, it's the same market pretty much.
Yeah.
So, this is the first time that Rockingham Dragway will host a full NHRA national event, although it previously hosted a all-star invitational, if you will, from 1989 to 1998. So,
it's been some time, that's for sure.
It's been some time, but they have had some divisional races for the last decade or so. Although they did say that they were going to renovate and make some improvements before the big NHRA Mission Foods drag racing series rolls into town. So, yeah. And yes, this drag strip is right across the street from Rockingham Speedway in North Carolina for our NASCAR listeners.
Yes. Just if anyone was curious.
But getting into Pomona, the NHRA Finals from Pomona, California, the Top Fuel World Championship is pretty much Doug Colette's to lose. He only needs to make one single qualifying pass in Pomona to clinch his second World Championship in 3 years after waiting 26 years for his first.
I mean, think of Hamlin with all his success and towards the end of his career. I mean, same thing he's doing right now.
Yeah. Colette's playoffs have been nothing short of amazing. He made the final round in the first 4 playoff races, including winning 2 of them, while the other kind of Top Fuel competitors have kind of just been killing each other. Kind of like how Central Iowa kills all the Central Iowa high school football teams all kill each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Austin Prock, he looks to wrap up his second straight Funny Car World Championship as he leads Matt Hagan by 101 points, despite Hagan beating Prock in the final round last weekend at Las Vegas for the victory. Prock has 9 wins this year, so Hagan's upset bid for another Funny Car title would be highly unlikely. Not impossible, but highly unlikely.
It's on the table.
If Prock qualifies for in the Funny Car field, which is also pretty likely, he's had tons of number 1 qualifiers, and if Hagan is unable to get the points gap below 90 points after qualifying, Prock would have to lose in the first round, and Hagan would have to win the race in order for Hagan to walk away with the championship. So, yeah. Of course, the game changes if Hagan's able to knock off a bunch of points in qualifying, and Pomona does have 1.5 times points, so points are definitely worth more in Pomona than a lot of other races on the schedule. It's just Pomona for the NHRA Finals, and then the U.S. Nationals and Indy that have that points boost. So, yeah.
Right.
Dallas Glenn has his best shot at a Pro Stock World Championship ever in his life, as he leads teammate and defending world champion Greg Anderson, who he's looking for his 7th World Championship in Pro Stock. But Glenn leads Anderson by 92 points heading into Pomona. Dallas Glenn and Greg Anderson have combined for 14 wins in Pro Stock this year through just 17 races so far.
That's kind of crazy.
That is just crazy. So, I mean, you could say it's the 2 best deserving drivers, and they're both teammates, so at least we don't have any, crazy, I don't want to say undeserving underdog stories, but, it's not NASCAR.
Right.
So, yeah. And then Pro Stock Motorcycle is definitely the tightest battle going into Pomona. Richard Gadsden leads Gage Herrera by just 21 points. And again, with points at Pomona being 1.5 times points, each round win is going to be worth 30 points, meaning that the Pro Stock Motorcycle Championship will likely come down to who goes farthest in eliminations on Sunday. Herrera has 7 wins this year and is looking for his 3rd straight World Championship. Gadsden, who's having his breakout season this year, has won 4 times this year. It's his first 4 times that he's won in his Pro Stock Motorcycle career. His first win was Bristol back in June. So
He's been on a tear.
Yep. Also, it's possibly Brittany Force's last NHRA event this weekend at Pomona at her home track, or at least her last event before she steps away to start a family.
Yeah.
Force has won 2 top field races this year, including last weekend in Las Vegas, and with that win in Vegas, Force broke Shirley Modani's record for the most top field victories by a female in NHRA history with 19.
To touch on that, I do think this is going to be her last race, only for the fact that it's her home track, and I think if they're starting a family, I don't think she'll do a one-off maybe in a few years' time, but it'll be a long time before we ever see her back in NHRA.
I mean, you look at both sides of the coin. You have Leah Pruitt, Tony Stewart's wife, who has been out of the seat for a couple years now, but is set to come back next year, taking over, back at Tony Stewart Racing, and then Tony Stewart himself's going over to Elite Motorsports. So,
kind of funny.
Yeah, NHRA silly season is just wild, and we might have to make a whole episode just on that.
Yeah, because it's a weird, complex.
Yeah, but I mean, Leah Pruitt started her own family and was, out of the seat for a couple of years, and now she's back. So, I mean, Brittany Force could do the same thing, but also if you look at her sisters, Ashley and Courtney, they didn't come back.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of what I was saying. I'm like, I don't see her coming back, but if she does, I feel like it would be at Pomona.
Yeah, but regardless, next year in NHRA's 75th season, there won't be a Force on track.
Yeah,
which is just crazy to think about. So, yeah. Do we think any upset championship bids will happen, particularly funny car and pro stock? I mean, Hagan does have the momentum from his funny car victory last weekend in Vegas, but Proc and Dallas Gunn are just so strong with over 90-point championship leads. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to say it's out of reach,
but it's not likely.
Not likely. I mean, if you had to, I guess, then again, touching on pro stock, Greg Anderson did beat Dallas Glenn last year in a much different situation. It was a winner-take-all final to win the championship. So, I mean, if you want to factor it based on experience, you definitely got to go with Anderson. But the likelihood isn't there. And expanding on that, who do we think can play spoiler this weekend? I mean, you can look at Clay Milliken, who won at Top Fuel back in the spring at the Winter Nationals in Pomona. Or you could think about Antron Brown, who won in Top Fuel last fall to win his 4th Top Fuel World Championship. Of course, you have Brittany Force trying to get one more victory. Or maybe Austin Proc's funny car teammate, Jack Beckman, who's won the last 2 funny car races here at Pomona. So
I want Brittany to win only for the fact of it's her last race. In my opinion, that's how I want it to be. It's her final send-off, but you never know.
Yeah. It's like I wanted Truex to win his last race before he retired.
Yeah.
Hey, he started on pole and led the first 9 laps, so if Phoenix was a 9-lap race and not a 312-lap race, I would have got that wish.
Fair enough.
It's crazy because he won the last 2 poles in his full-time career because he won the pole at Martinsville, too.
True.
I remember seeing that, and I was just like, I was just blown away. I'm like, what? And then he won it at Phoenix, and I'm like,
yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens this weekend. Champions will be crowned, and next weekend we'll recap all of it right here on the Throttle Floor podcast. But that's all we have on this week's episode of the Throttle Floor podcast. Shortened episode.
Yeah.
Very short episode. Was not planning on that, but that's okay. Almost as short and as fast as NHRA Top Fuel dragsters can go down the racetrack.
Yeah. As I was telling Will, this is not my sport, so I don't have much to really say on this. He gave me kind of a crash course before this episode started, so
I wouldn't say that, but okay.
Yes and no. I know somewhat, but it's not my thing to watch per se.
You know what? I just remembered to remind myself, can Brittany break another speed record? while we're talking based on Brittany Force here,
I
can she break
want her
another speed
to,
record?
but will she? I don't know.
Because the current record is 343.51 miles an hour, and that was at round 1 of eliminations at Indianapolis, back at the U.S. Nationals. So, I mean, maybe. I mean, we'd have to look at kind of the weather and track conditions. Of course, we wouldn't know everything.
We wouldn't know actual on-track conditions till the day of.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of rain in the forecast. That's not good.
That's not great.
Yeah. Like, specifically Sunday, there's like 20 to 25% rain chances, like, all day.
Oh, so it's going to be cloudy that day.
Yeah. Or at least that's what Google Weather's saying. Then again, of course, me saying Google Weather, or even, like, the weather app on Apple is offensive to this man. Mr. I want to major in meteorology. So.
Mr. I own weather apps that are expensive.
Yeah.
I get the same data that meteorologists have.
Yeah. But even if it gets set in qualifying, like, Saturday is even worse. Like, Saturday is like 45 to 70% chance of rain all day, and Friday's more of the same. So I'm not going to say the weekend's a washout.
But it's not looking great.
Not looking great. Although on the flip side, if the track gets dry, you have clouds and you have a cool track with temps around like 60 degrees.
Yeah.
So on one side of the coin, it might just be a complete washout, and cars even have trouble getting down the racetrack with the low grip. But if the track gets dry, you might have the right cool, wet conditions to set another record, set one more speed record.
Yeah, so it just really depends.
Honestly. I mean, last year, Austin Prock in Funny Car became the only guy to hit 341 or over 340 in a Funny Car.
Yeah.
And he hit like 341.68. Of course, we're talking Brittany Force here, who's broken so many records this year, has reset the national speed record like 4 or 5 times this year. And it could happen again. But just with the weather isn't looking great, but if it can get dry, we'll see.
It's all up in the air.
Yep. But that's all we got for this week's episode of the Throttle podcast. Make sure you tune in and listen and download on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Check out the Throttle podcast Instagram. The Chill Photography Instagram just got some new photos up from my trip to Chicago for my Spanish classes field trip. Hopefully next May I can go to Chicago for NHRA.
True.
Yeah. That's all we got for this week's shortened episode of the Throttle podcast, previewing the NHRA Finals from Pomona, California. I'm your host, Will Earnest, and my co-host, Evan Sager.
Catch y'all next week. Have a good night.
See y'all next week.